Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rabin, bringing you the news from a very rainy and stormy Israel. In fact, we can report floods in some places across the country and news as well from the Middle East and surrounds. And if you're watching us on YouTube via our channel at the Israel Brief, please click on the big red subscribe button. And if, hey, you just want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, you are welcome to do the same. But all eyes are on the United States as the votes in the presidential elections are being counted. And I don't know about you, but I woke up very much on the edge of my seat as it is a closely contested election. We don't have any clear indication of who the possible winner could be yet. It really is neck and neck, and the state of Nevada announcing just now that they will resume counting their ballots tomorrow. And where we stand is as follows. It's very close. However, President Trump came out and addressed the press earlier today in quite a controversial speech. He said that he had won this election and alluded to the fact that America can stop counting. This, of course, was met by a lot of anger by Biden supporters and by many pundits who said it's far too early to claim a victory, and the Biden campaign saying that they've got their lawyers at the ready to take this to the Supreme Court should this need to be contested. So it's we always knew it would be a controversial election, a election where we are sitting on the edge of our seat, an election which might go to the Supreme Court to contest who has won the clear majority. And at the moment, there is no clear majority, but nobody has claimed the landslide that they thought they would have. And a lot of criticism towards the Biden campaign because many expected that if the Democrats took this, they would take this by a landslide. So we couldn't predict it 4 years ago. We certainly cannot predict it now. We may have to wait a few more days, and the key states of Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Nevada, and others are yet to be counted and hand in their final tally. But what does a Trump presidency mean for the Middle East? And we look back on 4 incredible years. This has been a presidency that has accomplished quite a lot when we look at the role in the Middle East, and has pretty much buried the John Kerry doctrine. We can't forget John Kerry's controversial words just years ago where he said Arab countries would never recognize Israel unless there was peace with the Palestinians. And we always knew that a Trump presidency would be extremely disruptive from a foreign policy point of view. And this administration opted to go, instead of the usual traditional routes, they opted to go around and start talking to Arab countries before negotiating any kind of peace between Israel and the Palestinians. And we see that this tactic has worked. President Trump has pulled America out of the Iranian deal. He's also backed his support for Israel in places like the United Nations. But where it is key, and what has really warmed his administration to Israelis, whether they like or loathe him as a leader, is what he has accomplished in recent years, and in particular recent months here in the Middle East. And that is the historical peace accords between Israel, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain. While there has been a lot of criticism for the Trump campaign, seemingly very biased against the Palestinians, the rest of the Arab world have said that this is really bringing in a sense of change, a sense of breath of fresh air in the region. And other countries such as Saudi Arabia have alluded to the fact that they may normalize and make peace with Israel should there be a Trump victory. So he remains the great controversial divider, very polarizing figure. And all we can say is we have to wait until the absolute final results are in. And from Israel's point of view, whoever wins, we will work very closely with that leader. Israel is committed to our strong relationship with our strongest ally, the United States of America. Now let's turn to Malawi, and wonderful news coming from the Foreign Minister Eisenhower Mkaka, who's in Israel at the moment on a mission, and who met yesterday with our Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi, and said that he will be, or his country at least, will be the first African state to open their embassy in Jerusalem. He said that this is a bold and significant step, and hopefully other countries across the continent will follow suit. This is expected to take place next summer. And our final story takes us back 25 years, and today we remember the great warrior general Yitzhak Rabin, who became our prime minister and was sadly assassinated this day 25 years ago by an extreme right-wing terrorist called Yigal Amir. The extremely hawkish prime minister who fought in Israel's War of Independence and others, and fought for a long time for her security, eventually became a warrior of peace, signing historical peace agreements, including the Oslo Accords, and that's a whole other debate, where we stand on the Oslo Accords and what has transpired since then. But at the time, it was really seen as a beacon of hope, a harbinger of peace between Israel and her Palestinian neighbors. And sadly, this wasn't to be. And he was gunned down while speaking at a peace rally in what is now known as Kikar Rabin, or Rabin Square, in Tel Aviv, and died on his way to hospital. And he remains a greatly emblematic figure in Israeli history, both past and modern. He is seen as somebody who managed to bring Israelis of all sectors of society together to forge towards peace. And it's often discussed what could have been had he succeeded, had he survived. And we remember the great Yitzhak Rabin, who died by assassin's bullet 25 years ago. And you can read more about him on our website at www.layoftheland, a fascinating article by Dave Kaplan that gives us insights to the political man and to his personality. And we say, may his memory be for a blessing. If you miss it up on our website, don't worry, you can catch it on our Facebook page. We are at Lottel site, and hey, we're growing quite rapidly, and we need you to get to our big number, which is 2,000. So if you haven't visited our Facebook site, please do so. It's at Lottel site. We look a little something like this. Give us a like, give us a follow, share our content, and hey, invite your friends too as well. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Israel Brief. And don't forget to interact with us on Twitter at Lay of the Land with the digit 5. And from all of us here at Lay of the Land, who are now going back to monitoring the election results, this is the Wednesday edition of the Israel Brief. I'm Rabin Marks. We'll speak together, and hopefully I will have more results for you. But until tomorrow, have a safe and a healthy evening.